Well, we are just a few more weeks out before we finally get the second half of the 4th season of Young Justice Phantoms. Now, this season has focused on individual story arcs as it relates to some of the original team. And one team member that is often overlooked in Season 1 is Rocket. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about Rachael Irvin and what she might be bringing to the second half of Season 4 of Young Justice. Now, before we dive in though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. Also, the huge giveaway. We got a PlayStation 5 to give away at 25,000 subscribers. All you need to do to get in on our giveaway is be a subscriber and leave us a comment. Also, while you're at it, check out that free week of Skillshare down below. It's a pretty cool way for you to develop all of your superhero skills for that never-ending war on crime, all by not diving too deep in your pocket. Plus, it really does help the channel, so we really appreciate it. Well, if you're a fan of Young Justice, you know who Rocket is. Has been part of the show since Season 1 and was actually an early team member. Now, if you didn't know, she did join the team after her partner was inducted into the Justice League, and actually by the middle of Season 2, she was also in the League herself. Now, I've often found that Rachael Irvin, aka Rocket, is probably fairly underutilized in the show and is often just in a supporting role. But let's be pretty clear, there's a lot going on with this character. Just like the comics, she's still a mom. If you didn't know, she was the very first single mom in comics. She's also from Dakota City, a DC city in the Midwest of Detroit, also part of the Young Justice world. And she is associated with a whole laundry list of Milestone characters, specifically her mentor, Icon. This kind of gives us a lot of ideas of what we may see in the upcoming arc. These arcs have been personal, so I think she will be going home to Dakota. The Dakotaverse was part of Milestone Comics that became integrated into the DC universe after the New 52. The characters have been part of the show since Season 1 with Rocket and Icon, but we also added Static during Season 2. Quite honestly, I believe Static and maybe even some of the Outsiders could be integrated into her upcoming arc. Now, fans have clamored for more of those Milestone characters, and it was even in our top 5 spin-off ideas. We actually got Gem in the Martian arc, so I really see no reason we couldn't see a lot of the Dakotaverse, specifically Hardware, as part of her upcoming arc. Now, I actually think a likely thread could be her relationship with the team and the Justice League. You might not know this, but her and Zatanna actually joined the team early on. And the fact that she, along with Kaldur, are getting arcs this year leads me to believe that their relationship with the League could end up stressed or broken. They could even be tied together somehow, since we know many of these arcs are. We just don't have any clues yet. Now, I actually think in her arc, we're going to spend some time getting to know her past. Just like Artemis's stories, I think we should be set for some serious flashbacks. We really have seen very little of Rocket in the show, even though she's been part of the team since Season 1. I also expect to see a lot of her mentor, Icon. Her origin ties her directly to and often in conflict with her mentor. In case you didn't know, at least in the comics, they have very oppositional political views, with her being very progressively liberal and Icon being very classically conservative. This has driven tons of stories in the comics, and I really do expect we could see some of that here. Although, quite honestly, we might be doing that walk down memory lane kind of story, and that could be where Icon fits into the mix. In case you didn't know, Icon helped her get her powers, and her powers are actually derived from a high-tech belt which in the comics is known as the Inertia Belt. I wouldn't be surprised if the belt has some issues in the upcoming arc, and this sends her back to Dakota City and into her past to try to figure out how to fix the belt. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the belt, it has a library of powers in the comics, but in this show, we know it can not only make her fly, but can also create very powerful force bubbles capable of becoming stronger when kinetic force is applied to them. She can also shape these bubbles into projectiles as a weapon, which is also pretty darn cool. Now, all of these are very similar to the comic powers and could be explored much more in her arc. If you're familiar with her in the comics, you know that belt does a lot more. Also, there were actually 2 belts in the comics, bringing us to another Milestone character. Rocket got one of those belts. The other belt actually went to Hardware, who helped refine the tech and expand its power set. You can clearly see how this could tie into her Young Justice arc. I could totally see an origin or even a quest to get it repaired, and that would be a nice story driving Rachael's life as a hero. Now, obviously, we're going to have to wait a few more weeks before Young Justice comes back and we get to explore the next character arcs. Besides Rocket, we know Nightwing and Aqualad are both expecting arcs in the second half of the season. So we're going to do a video on both of them too, breaking down what we think might be going on with those characters also. But until then, I gotta know what you guys think. What do you think we will dive into expanding Rocket's story in the second half of Young Justice Phantoms? And would you like to see other Milestone characters like Hardware be part of her expanded arc? Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you're not gonna get any updates. Peace.